Hey y'all, what's going on? It's Angie here, single mom, educator, therapist, just talking about everyday life and some of the ways that I manage to make it from day to day. So I wanted to vlog a little bit earlier in the week, but it was a really trying week. Last Thursday, not this past one, but the one before, my son's dad had a mini stroke and ended up in the hospital. He stayed overnight, but didn't really have anyone at home with him to help take care of him. So he came and stayed with me and our son for the past week. To give you all some perspective, he and I have not been together in almost 8 years as a couple. We've co parented since then. And I guess it was kind of a blessing in disguise that I moved here 2 years ago, even though I'll say he wasn't necessarily like offering help with me moving here. Or once I was gonna move here, he and I had talked about it, like would he be able to help more, and he wasn't like really giving me much. But I moved here for the job, and in the long run, I thought it would be more beneficial for my son and his dad to form that relationship. And it has been, but I was saying all that to say that we haven't been together, but he ended up being here, and it was tough. He's okay, thankfully. His motor skills are good. Really, the only main thing that's been affected is speech, and just the fact that he needs to slow down and take better care of himself with some of his health issues. So hopefully, this will be a wake up call for him, and he'll be able to move forward without a problem. What I did want to talk about today, though, is not um, that. What I wanted to talk about today is actually the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program for student loans. It's been a big topic out there right now, and my loans were fully forgiven at the end of May. So I have been seeing posts everywhere about how this goes. It's like all of a sudden people are waking up to it, but I've known about it forever. I guess with the waiver and the way that Biden has been talking about student loans and now actually the ball is starting to roll out and people are saying, hey, I'm getting forgiven. Oh, me too, me too, me too. Now that they're going through the program, the hype is like heightening and people only have until October to apply to see if they actually can get forgiven. So let me give you a little rundown of what it is and then we'll go from there. So the public service loan forgiveness program was intended to give people who work in the public sector forgiveness for their loans after a certain amount of time. It was 10 years, and the actual program started in 2007. So, well, the way it was supposed to work is people were supposed to be able to pay on their loans for 10 years if they worked in like any government job or in schools, public schools especially, even private schools, and certain other industries fell underneath of there, but that they would end up getting forgiven for their loans if they paid on them for 10 years. Once 2017 rolled around and the first group of people or so that should have been started to get forgiven were becoming eligible, though 99% of them, or a huge percentage of them, were not getting forgiven. So there was something completely wrong with the program. Like, obviously, it just wasn't set up right or was set up for people to fail. And there were many reasons that was happening. But when Biden came into office and started talking about student loan forgiveness because it was such an issue and this program wasn't working for people, that was one of the things that came into play where Biden said, okay, I'm going to change the program so that more people could start being forgiven. So he came out with this waiver, which basically changed a lot of the stipulations, whereas people weren't getting forgiven before. Now that these stipulations had changed, more people would fall under the umbrella. And it was only fair. Like, for example, I graduated undergrad in 2005. So I've been paying all my loans off and on since 2005. They never went into default. They were always on time when I was paying them or in forbearance if I had a hardship, which I did in 2008 because I bought a house right when the housing market bubble went upside down. So I was able to forbear on them. And then deferment when you're in school, which means you don't have to pay on them, that payment gets deferred until later. Um, which is both of those that happen to me periodically. So even from 2005, when I went back and counted I'm sorry, from 2007 when the program started, I already had like 2 years of payments under my belt, more or less, maybe like 18 months. You have a grace period after you graduate, and then I think I went back to school in 2006. But the point is that I've been paying on my loans the whole time. And I would have been one of those people. Actually, I was one of those people who got to 2017, and it was like, no, you still have until like I think it was like 2026 to pay on my loans when I under the original program, because I hadn't made 120 qualifying payments in accordance to what their qualifying payments were. So even though I was paying on it, if I wasn't in the right type of payment program, which is a whole nother topic in and of itself. But anyway, that's been changed. There was just so many reasons why, according to them, I didn't qualify for this. But I was a teacher, been a teacher the whole time, and had been paying. So I immediately filed for the waiver when it popped up. I think it was October of 2021 or maybe October of 2020. I don't remember. But when the waiver first came out, when Biden came in and he started setting these, I immediately applied. And I was recertifying every year anyway, like applying to the program because I just had been over the years. But when he came up with the waiver stipulations, I went back and did it. So it took a while, first of all, for them to even look into it because so many people, started applying. The ball was getting rolling. They were trying to figure out what they were doing. So I believe that the first time I went through, when they checked out my loans, they were like, you have about 84 uh, payments that you have to make left. And I was like, that doesn't sound right. But what I also found out was that they were only basing that on the public school employment that I had for 5 years. My private school employment, which I now have for 2 years, or was going to have for 2 years by the time it went through, wasn't calculated because they claimed that my employer never signed off. So I had to resubmit a form. So once I did that, I was down to 65 payments. And I was like, that still doesn't seem right. So I just let it sit. Well, about 6 weeks later, they came back and said, 36 more payments. Sorry, we recalculated with the new stipulation. So you only have 3 years worth of payments left. Now, I was willing to go with that. But I'm also really big into manifesting, you guys. I don't know if I've talked about that much. But I was like, yeah, I'm manifesting that I'm not going to pay these back. So, and since with COVID, we weren't being required to, I just sat on it. Well, in May of 2022, finally, I just get a letter out of nowhere. I think it was May 24th, 2022, that said, your loans have been forgiven. Congratulations. We recalculated and you've made 120 qualifying payments. So they went back to 2005 and calculated all my payments between 2005 up until the current time. And everything that fell under the COVID umbrella of you not having to pay, the government saying you didn't have to pay, also counted towards those 120 qualifying payments. So in the end, it worked out for me. I had a 45.5 left in loans, and they were wiped. So I know a lot of people have a lot more. I'm hearing people having tons more getting wiped. People are starting to talk about it because they're going through the process. It's not hard, you guys. I mean, people I think, are so confused about where to start because it seems like it's this just craziness of what am I supposed to be doing? In the beginning, I felt the same way, but they've really started to streamline it. So there's a lot of information out there. There's tools to determine whether your job will qualify you. And I'll put them down below where you can go to start the process because it's really not hard. And once you get on, it'll walk you through. And they calculate everything on their end. The Department of Ed is calculating it. And they'll keep recalculating it. And if something doesn't seem right, resubmit, ask questions because it'll come back. Like I said, mine came back 3 times before I was forgiven. So I went from 84 payments to 65 to 36 to forgiven. So I guess it was 4 times that it came through, just of recalculating and me resubmitting and making sure my documents were up to date. So I'm going to put the links in the description down below of how to get this process started. And they will even tell you if you need to consolidate your loans or not. It'll tell you like if the type of loan you have qualifies or not. That you just have to take your time though and go through the process. It's a little bit tedious, but trust me, if you want to be debt free, it's worth it. Student loans were my last bit of debt. I've told you guys that from other in my other videos that was my last bit of debt. And it has felt great to just one say that I'm debt free, but two be able to help people and tell them, yeah, no, it's possible for you. Another thing is, even if you're not sure if you qualify, try anyway. I didn't know where I would fall, and I just went ahead and did it. I mean, I did kind of know because I have been working as a teacher my whole career, but even if you don't know or you're not sure if you've made the amount of payments, if you're not sure if your job qualifies, try anyway. One of the things I will say is it will tell you whether or not your job qualifies. But I forgot the other thing I was going to say. Oh, but and they'll also tell you if it doesn't qualify or you haven't met the amount of payments, how many more you have to pay so you can budget your life accordingly and think about that. So there's a lot of positives to this. I'm hoping that someone who's watching this will be like, oh, okay. If you do want help, you can message me in the comments. I'll walk you through it. There are several Facebook groups about how to do this. I know the Black Teachers Rock group, if you are a teacher. Someone posted a really, really informative thread in there about how to walk through the process. And I actually commented under there and said, hey, I'll help anybody who needs to who needs it because my loans have been forgiven. And I've gotten a lot of questions and people it's working. There's also another teacher forgiveness program. If you don't qualify for PSLF, Public Student Loan Forgiveness, yes, program. There's also the Title I teacher forgiveness grant for people who work in high need schools. So if you try PSLF and that doesn't work for you, I could help you with that one too. If you do happen to work in like a high need school district or in a high needs field like math, or there's another one out there for you. So let me know. How do you feel about it? What you think? If you have any questions, I'm here. And hopefully that has helped someone out there get on their financial track even more. And yeah, thanks, guys. I will talk to you soon.